Hey, what's up guys? In this video I'm going to be discussing Surge, and I was unaware that it recently went open source. So now it's a free synth, which is pretty neat. I remember using this back in the day, and yeah, I wish they did this more. There's a couple of synths that would have been great if they were open sourced when they were discontinued, like, Albino as one that comes to mind. I'm sure there's a couple other ones, but anyway. So yeah, this is Surge, and you can get it for free now, which is pretty dope. It's a hybrid synth, and what's really cool is it has multiple kind of engines up here. I think that's what I want to call it. We can have warm, oscillator shapes, natural, and then bright, which gives like this harder edge to it. But neutral is pretty cool. Really excited to see what kind of development is going to occur in this synth. It's really neat. So yeah, so the synth is comprised of two scenes, A and B, two kind of entirely separate synthesis engines. So it's basically two synths in one, and they both share the effects channels, which is cool. And let me see here. The usual suspects of oscillator shapes, classic, square, and sawtooth. We got wave tables, bunch of wave tables. It's pretty neat. Sine, FM stuff. So you can really kind of go to town. And then audio input. You can, I guess, send things into it, which is pretty neat. Yep, and the usual kind of suspects of like pitch. And then, the shape, which will, morph between, I guess, saw and square. And what does a square do? Oh, it turns it into saw. Does it? Yeah, so if it's square. Oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's just a variable thing there. That's interesting. I don't remember that. You get some really neat harmonics there. And you got your width, which, applies to square, right? So you can do some pulse width stuff, which is really neat. And then you got sub width here. You get some gnarly basses. And, all that sort of thing. Let's go to saw. We have the sub level, which adds a sub oscillator to the actual oscillator. So it's not a separate oscillator, it's built into it. And then we have sync. Sync is pretty cool. And it's all well and good. And let's just double click there. Then we have unison, which can go up to 14 or 16 voices, which is pretty cool. And then the unison spread here. And all that jazz. And then you have your other oscillators here, which you can, do some things and move it up and down an octave if you want. Down here is the mixer section. So, right now oscillator 1 is being played. I'll go mute that. And then we can bring in oscillator 2 and do some cool stuff with that, and it's really cool. And also ring modulation and the overall gain. We have global pitch, or scene pitch, I should say, which is pretty neat, in the portamento as well. We have different modes, mono, mono ST, FB, all these things, which is pretty neat. Oscillator Drift, which emulates, oscillator pitch tracking kind of being wonky, which, it's useful and gives some really cool movement. Already went over portamento. Oh yeah, noise color. If you want noise, you can get some noise stuff going on. And yeah, oh, there it is. This is noise here. So noise has its own kind of filter. And there's that. Key tracking. No, wait. Let's go up here. Yeah, you can do FM and things like that. There's different routing. So it's really like a hybrid synth, which is pretty cool. You have your filter here. I enjoy the filters. And yeah, your FM, which I'll go over shortly. You have a filter configuration here. And this is something that I really enjoyed when it first came out. So the signal path of filters in a lot of synths is really not flexible. But this one is. So you have the audio from everything in here going into filter 1 and then going into a shaper and then going into filter 2 and then going into the amplifier envelope and then to a high pass filter and then out. So with that, you can have the filter 1 going into a shaper and then it going into filter 2, so you can have filters in kind of series. You can get some gnarly stuff going on there. And then you can have a different kind of routing. So we'll have the amplifier feeding back into filter 1, right? Which, you can get some pretty neat things going on there. And the wave shaper is in here, so we can go hard. Get something pretty aggressive and all these things. And this is what the virus does, which I really enjoy. Different kind of routing here. So it goes into filter 1, into the wave shaper, into the amplifier, and goes back into filter 2, which is then fed back in, which is interesting. And then what's this? What if I mouse over it? Does it tell me? Oh, so dual. So basically now it's split into filter 1 and filter 2, and that goes into the shaper, and that goes to the amplifier, and then they have the ability to feedback. And another one, so it splits filter 1, only filter 1 goes into the wave shaper, and then that goes in, and they both go into the amplifier envelope, and then they have the ability to be fed back. And then what's this one? The stereo. So the cutoff of this and this, the filters are split left and right. Right, so you can have different filters going into the left and right channel, and they both go into the wave shaper. So we'll go digi, which is really neat. And then we have a ring, which can't begin to explain. The amplitude is doing something, and they're summed together. I don't even know. And then wide, which everything is in its own separate filter path. So this wave shaper, they're not summed together, they're applied differently, as you can see. Right, so different kind of distortion being fed, different kind of resonances will be split. So you get like a really cool kind of wide sound. And, from here we have our output, pan, width, effects 1 and 2, send. You get the idea. Yeah, let's go. How would I go? Yeah, how would I do a thing? I am trying to init. How do I init? You know what I'll do? I won't be able to figure it out on the fly. That kind of guy. But yeah, I'll just open up a new instance. So the FM routing is interesting. And, I'm not an expert in FM, but I'm going to go to FM2 for that, and then FM2 for Oscillator 2. And I want 2 to go into 1. And there's different routings we can do. We can go 3 into 2 and then into 1, and then 2 and 3 both into 1 the same time. And it shows you the signal path here. So Oscillator 2 goes into the main signal path, but it also goes into Oscillator 1, and then the noise is unaffected, and Oscillator 3 goes into signal path. So it's really easy to see visually. I'll show you what that means. So right now Oscillator 2 is muted, right? So you're not going to hear it, but it's still affecting Oscillator 1. You can get right into, that gnarly kind of audible range. So we're in Oscillator 2. We can move the pitch up and down to make it sound weird. Probably do the octave up and down. Right? And, we can do some cool stuff with that. All these things, all these ratios and phases, things like that. You can do all sorts of cool stuff with this. And this synth is free. So, with Oscillator 2, it's affecting Oscillator 1, but it is muted. It's not going into the main channel. We can unmute it and hear it. And we can get like a cool bass line. And that's all well and good. And the possibilities are pretty possible. And, does the bright do anything? I guess it doesn't do anything for FM stuff. Yeah, really exciting. And, we can do some wave shaping and things like that. And the filters offer, this is just a filter that nothing's happening in this filter. We can do a low pass, and then a 4-pole low pass, 24 dB per octave, and then a ladder filter, which is like a Moog style, things like that. And the resonance, does it self-oscillate? Nope. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, a high pass, 2 flavors of high passes, band pass, and then like a notch, which can give you like this really cool phaser effect, and then comb, which I'm sure a lot of you will enjoy. Things like that. And then we have sample and hold, which is kind of like I believe it replaces the cutoff and resonance with bit crush and sample rate reduction. Yeah, it does. Which is pretty cool. And it's just a neat little thing that you add in there. And we can adjust the balance of filter 1 and filter 2, just like in a machine, which is cool. So again, over here is the mixer section. So we can mix and then, do some filter routing, which is really neat. That's what these green things do. You can have, things going into different things and whatnot. We have a dedicated filter envelope here, or, the filter. If I can... Oh wait, I have to actually turn that on. Which is really cool. And then the amplifier envelope, which, you should know what that is. Each one has their own kind of different flavors. Digital, which is more linear, analog, which is more smooth. So it has a longer sustain, I guess, which is really cool. So down here is the modulation section. So let's get, there's all these different modulation sources. These are MIDI. These are our LFOs. There's 6 LFOs we can have. The filter envelope can be applied to other things, which is neat. And then we have other LFOs down here and whatnot. And this is like another kind of matrix thing. And yeah, that's That's that really. So let's you double click or no, yeah, well, you click on the filter here and I can adjust the FM depth. You can do cool stuff like that. I actually want to bring that down. All right, so now oh wait, no, not that. Oops. Actually, I did like it kind of reversed. That was dope. There, let's do that. Nice. Nice. Yeah, and you can just do lots of neat stuff. And all that. And then the LFOs can do some things here, and you know, really useful to kind of maybe apply it to the pitch here. Right, to get some stuff. As we increase the rate, it's just another layer of FM at the end of the day, and they go really super crazy high frequencies, right? Well beyond, you know, what would be audible as like a low rate LFO. Right? I really do enjoy that. And things like that. And each LFO can have a kind of attack. So it's like a fade up. And, or I guess you call it an LFO envelope generator built into it, which is really, really cool. We can have it key triggered or free run. You know, we can do some cool things with the actual waveform in and of itself. But yeah, let's give it, let's give it an attack here. Really neat, and that is that. And you have like your other LFOs as well. So let's get into, I guess, effects here. So the effects routing, so the routing is very, I guess, visible in the synth if you haven't noticed already. So you can see the oscillator FM routing here in the mixer section, and then the filter routing, and you can change it to your heart's content here. So how it works in the effects section is you have your two scenes, A and B, and there's yeah, just an effect here goes into the first effect. So yeah, let's go insert I guess a delay. And we have to bring the mix down, obviously. And we'll give it a bit of feedback. Cool. And then that can go into another kind of effect here. And that could be, yeah, let's go, yeah, some distortion. We'll give it some drive. It was really cool. And then it is split into, I guess, yeah, these two guys here. So you can have a kind of a parallel effect, which is useful if you want to go about doing that. And then everything is merged together. And, you know, you can see it. Yeah, then you have your two post effects, which, you know, would be maybe like EQ and maybe a limiter just for safety. You know, like it's like, yeah, you can do all these cool things. And yeah, really enjoyable. So yeah, you can do all sorts of stuff here. How many times have I said you can do all sorts of stuff? Yeah, and that is Surge, and you know, I can imagine that, you know, there's going to be a lot more development, some branches maybe, and they're going to build upon this. It's going to be cool. Um, and you know, we're going to be able to see more functionality in this, maybe like more routing, maybe like custom drag and drop routing. Who knows? But there's yeah, there's some issues, but there's some active development happening right now. And all that sort of thing. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned stuff. Just look up Surge VST. It's on GitHub, and you can get it and install it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care and have a good one.